Thank you so much.
Awesome. All right, we can start, guys. Well, hello, everyone from all around the world. Welcome to my masterclass. As I was saying before, this is going to be recorded. And so if you're not, for those of you who are just observing, if you're not comfortable with being on camera, please turn off your cameras, and please all of you remain muted while you're not playing. I will be posting the recording on my YouTube channel a couple days after this class, just for people who are unable to attend today. They can watch on my YouTube at their own time. So we're going to start today with Pablo. Pablo is going to be playing Capricho Arabe. I love this piece. I'm so excited. So Pablo, whenever you're ready. Oh, hold on. I'm sorry. Let me pin you real quick. Let me pin you. Okay. Now, can everyone else see Pablo's screen kind of, up close and big? Yeah? Yes, perfect. Okay. All right, Pablo.
Okay, let's go. That's the sound is good, no?
Yes,
sound?
It's a little distorted, but we can work with it. It's okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Nice job, Pablo. Nice job. Really nice.
Thanks.
You have a lot of good character in this piece. You have a good sense of kind of the inflection of this piece, I think. So really, really nice. You have a lot of good ideas in there.
Very difficult to me. This is the first score I play in my life.
Oh wow! Well, you played it very well. I mean, it's a tricky piece. There's a lot of things in here that are not very idiomatic. Means that word means that it's not written well for the guitar. And what I mean is that we go through a lot of key changes in here that are kind of unusual for the guitar. At one point, we're in F major, which is not a very common key on the guitar because it involves, you know, lots of bars, as you're noticing in this piece, especially in the middle section. You know, we're in D minor at the beginning, you know, common key, but we're kind of translating a lot into some very, very interesting areas in here. So one thing that I did want to mention to you about that, since it's a piece that, you know, requires a lot of left-hand work, you want to make sure that you're sitting in a good position for this. And what I mean is that I think you're sitting a little bit, you know, with the guitar kind of resting a little more on the right leg. It's going to be a lot easier on your left hand if you actually position it a little more towards the left leg. So this is kind of what I mean by classical position, right? We want to always maintain good posture when we play. Right? There are times where we are kind of moving, where we don't necessarily always have good posture, but we want kind of the stability to be, you know, within a good posture, good sitting.
Yeah.
So there are 3 points of contact the guitar has on the body. The legs, right? And the chest. Okay, so the chest and the 2 legs, that's our point of contact, point of support on the guitar. So, you know, as you can see from my device, we actually have a raised, this is called the upper bout, lower bout, upper bout. We have a raised upper bout, which puts the neck at about a 45-degree angle, right? Where the guitar is positioned kind of towards that left leg and then the lower bout towards the right leg, not the other way around, where the upper bout is positioned on the right leg, because you can see what happens to the neck, right? The neck, and I have my device, but the neck becomes more horizontal, it makes it a lot trickier to play, and then this happens. This is the golden rule. of guitar playing. Big no, you want the left wrist to be straight, always. No exceptions. Left wrist always has to be straight.
Oh.
To do that, right, if the guitar neck is too low, then it's almost impossible because then our shoulders get unaligned and our backs start to hurt. So we really want kind of the neck to be at this 45-degree angle. And I'm going to help you find it as well, how to find that angle for the guitar. And, you know, the rest of you, feel free to kind of follow along if you want to do this as well. I strongly believe in using the natural body while we play. Any kind of form of tension, whether that is shoulders being raised or kind of shoulders being uneven, the wrists being uneven, even the legs being uneven, that will cause tension in our playing. And we don't want to play with tension. We always want to be relaxed and we want to use our natural abilities. So for the legs, you want to make sure, I don't know what kind of chair that you're sitting in, but you want to make sure that your legs are spread enough to be kind of at the two legs, front legs of the chair, right? So here are the legs of the chair. My own legs need to be spread to that amount. No further, not close, not too far. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay.
You want to make sure that your hips and your knees are also aligned. Let's pretend this is my hip and this is my knee, right? If your knee is lower than the hip, then that's not going to be a very balanced position. If your knee is higher than the hip, that's also not going to be very balanced, and it's also going to start to hurt, right? Hurt your back. So you want to make sure that you have enough height so that the hip and the knees are at the same level, right? And also, you know, for women specifically, but for men as well, depends on the kind of shoe that you're wearing. You want to make sure, you know, that you are at a point where both the hip and the knee are even, no higher, no lower. And then spread to the legs of the chair, you know, to a four-legged chair, approximately where that would be. You want your feet pointed forward too, not kind of turned out or turned in, because then that also changes the direction of the knees as well. So make sure everything is pointed forward, right? Now with the guitar, so let's find our natural positioning on the guitar. So for a second, why don't you put down the guitar for a second? You know, so that we can find this kind of posture without the instrument. So let's start with the right arm. Take your right arm, put it 90-degree angle out in front of you. Good. Now, I want you to relax the wrist. Let the wrist completely drop. Good. So the left wrist always has to be straight, but the right wrist, there's a lot more flexibility. Okay? So your wrist and fingers are completely relaxed, completely loose. Now what I want you to do is move your arm back so that approximately the elbow is in line with the side of the ribs. Right, and make sure that you lower it so yeah, it's right kind of at, I would say maybe the, you know, the middle part of your rib cage, about here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Good. So this, you know, and make sure that your arm kind of maintains that bend. It looks like it is, so that's good. You know, you're not kind of opening your arm or closing your arm. Shoulder relaxed. There you go, very good. So this is approximately, with some adjustments, where the lower bout, where you're going to place your arm on the lower bout of the guitar. Now notice how relaxed your wrist is. Notice that your shoulder is even. You know, this is kind of where the guitar is going to rest approximately. You know, of course we adjust the wrist a little bit just to make it in line with the elbow, and the wrist and the elbow are on the same line, right? So it's not, you know, we don't want the wrist to be too bent in either direction, right? We want to be kind of the fingers and the elbow in line with each other. So there, you know, we maintain the relaxation, but we do adjust a little bit just to get that in line. There is our right hand. There it is. That's all. No more, no less. That's it. You know, with minor adjustments just to get the guitar into position, of course, but notice how relaxed your hand is, right?
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So now the left arm. So what you're going to do is I want you to drop the arm. Just let it completely, your left arm completely relaxed. Good. Take your palm of your hand and turn it so that it's a 45-degree angle. It's facing your knee. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's your palm facing the knee. So you're still having it relaxed, right? It's not at the knee. It's relaxed, but you're turning your hand like this so that it's facing the knee.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. Good. And make sure to keep it down, keep it relaxed, don't hold it forward. Good.
Yeah.
Now from there, close the elbow until you get to a point where you feel that the wrist wants to fall in. At that point, it's where you stop. So for me, it's about here, because, you know, when my wrist is completely relaxed, you know, my wrist kind of falls outward until there's a point where, as you can see, there, it wants to fall in, about there. Good. And now make the elbow, kind of extend the elbow and the shoulder a little bit so there's a little bit of space, kind of this triangle here between the shoulder, the ribs. Good. So this is approximately, it's different for everybody, between the 5th and the 8th frets, I would say. You know, this is where your arm kind of rests between the 8th and the 5th frets. So to get to the 1st fret and beyond, that is extension of the shoulder and the elbow. So if you are wanting to kind of slide along the neck, right, like this, you dictate from the shoulder. The shoulder opens and closes. It's like this movement, right? Exactly. And the elbow follows. We never really dictate with the hand, right? Because then this happens, and we want to keep the wrist straight, right? Golden rule of guitar playing: keep the left wrist straight. You know. Mm-hmm. And let me clarify. This is obviously not straight. This is not straight. This is straight. This can also be straight, and this can also be straight. There is a little bit of flexibility within the left arm, depending on what we're playing, especially kind of moving the wrist in like this. Basically, you want the tendons to remain kind of in a straight line with the same amount of tension. So if I'm like this, then the tendons get really loose up there, and then they start to move this way, right? And if I'm putting pressure, that's not good. That can cause tendinitis or other physical issues, right? The same with the other way around. Too much tension points in now in this direction. So you want, you want to keep, the tension kind of remaining the same in there. So there's a little bit of flexibility. Have you ever broken an arm or sprained your wrist or something? No? Oh, you're lucky. You're lucky.
Yeah, I'm lucky.
Yeah, if any of you have, then you'll know that, there's a little bit of like wiggle room in the cast, but not that much, right? You can't move like this, but there's a little tiny bit of wiggle room. Basically, that's what you want to think when playing the guitar. No tension, but keeping that wrist straight. So back to kind of our left hand, the wrist never dictates, it always follows the elbow and the shoulder, right? So that's how we kind of slide. And notice how, my shoulder is just extending out or coming in, right? We're not moving it up or down, right? We want the shoulders to be in line almost always. Make sense? Good. By the way, I forgot to mention that we're going to do 45-minute lessons between students, just letting you know. I think, can everyone still see me? Because I forgot to unpin Pablo, but am I coming up on the screen? Or is it still just Pablo on the screen? I'm coming up on the screen?
Yes, yes.
Perfect, good. Okay, so let's grab the guitar again and see if we can try to recreate that feeling. So remember, that you are going to need to kind of raise the upper bout somehow, keeping the upper bout on the left leg. So footstools, devices, any of these, there's so many out there and so many good ones out there. Using some kind of device, or a footstool to raise that guitar is going to be very helpful. The position you have it in now is very good, so some way to kind of either raise your leg or raise the guitar, that's a good positioning. General rule of thumb too is that, you want the upper bout to be, right at the chest. You want it to be in line. If you think of a button-down shirt, you want it to be in line with the second button, not the one all the way up here, but the second button, which is right at the sternum. Approximately. Everyone's a little bit different. Everyone, has different sized guitars, right? This is a much smaller guitar that I'm using, so for me it's just riding a little bit lower, of course, but, generally speaking. So I think for you right now, I love the angle. It's a little high, though. I think it could actually come down a little, because look at where your shoulder is. It's actually a lot higher, right? A lot higher than that left arm. So something to think about. I'm not going to ask you now to get a footstool or anything, but, think about that when you are, positioning your guitar. Good. And then the arms, right? Remember, relaxed. Back down to the lower bout. Left arm comes to a close between the 5th and 8th frets approximately. And then you are shifting by opening the shoulder and the elbow. Exactly. Exactly. And then while you're doing that, the wrist kind of remains straight. Now, if I'm doing bars, like in this piece, right, there's a lot more kind of balance that's needed. I might need to lean in, as you're seeing, you know, lean into the cord so that the balance goes directly, the heaviest point of the body, which is dictated by the head, it goes right down to that elbow so I can, you know, get that bar to sound clean. Now, if I'm like this, obviously, it's not going to sound very clean unless you press really hard, but you should never press very hard. It's always, always light pressure. We're going to do a pressure test, okay? Go to the 5th fret, 1st string with your first finger. Yep, yeah, good. So what I want you to do is, I want you to place your finger on the string, but do not press. So it's going to be a muted sound. Right, exactly. So we're going to articulate the string now. So you're going to play the string a few times. Every time you play, you're going to put a little bit more pressure at a time until it gets buzzy. You hear the buzz. When it becomes a clean sound, like you hear me doing, don't press anymore. No more pressure. Okay, why don't you try? Good, good. It's a lot less pressure than you need, as you can see from my lack of thumb, right? A lot less pressure. And that's true for everything, any finger, any string, even bars. Always light pressure. We don't need to press anymore because we don't want to have tension in the wrist, right? Gentle pressure, always. Including in bars. It's all about positioning, not about pressure, right? And the positioning comes from kind of how the guitar is positioned on your body, right? When you have these 3 points of contact, 3 points of support, as you can see, the guitar is then supported and balanced well. You don't even need your arms to hold up the guitar, you know, because then the arms are busy doing so many different things. You don't want to use it to hold up that guitar, right? So, good, exactly. So yes, making sure that the wrist is straight. What was I going to say? Why don't we start again at the beginning real quick of the piece? You know, see if you can kind of maintain this position, but if it's uncomfortable since you don't have some kind of support, that's okay. You can go back to your other position for now because we'll talk about the music. But start again at the beginning. I'll stop you this time.
What?
Yeah, start at the beginning. I'm going to stop you, but start at the beginning.
The beginning of Capricho Arabe?
Yes, of Capricho, yes.
Okay.
Good. So, good. In this piece,
I'm not used to play.
No, I know. It's a completely different position. I get it. No worries. So you have the right idea in this piece, in that every time that there is kind of this 16th note passage or a quicker rhythmic passage, the 16th notes in measure 2, or you know the groups of 6 that you have at, what is that, the 7th measure, 8th measure, the 8th measure, you know, whenever you have kind of that quicker group of notes, that's going to be treated kind of cadenza-like. A cadenza is kind of a free moment within a piece where rhythmically you're using a lot of rubato, kind of freedom, you know, there's not as much kind of strictly adhering to the time, to the meter, right? So, you know, at the beginning, I think, you know, within these 16th notes, you can take a little bit of time. You can kind of start slower and speed up, however you want to interpret that. But I would say when you arrive at moments that are a little bit more rhythmically precise, really try to establish a good tempo, a good rhythm. So for example, the very first note, very first note's a harmonic, right? First note's a harmonic, but as we can see, we're in 3, right? 3, 4. So there are 3 beats in the measure, right? So let's start the harmonic and make sure that it lasts for 3 beats. However, you know, whatever tempo, it's got to last for 3 beats before you continue, you know, kind of this freedom. When you arrive on the 3rd measure, you know, make sure that that's rhythmically accurate too. We're not free anymore. It's not a cadenza, right? So 1, 2, 3, 1. Really be kind of rhythmically precise here. If a majority of the introduction, if it's kind of too much rubato, then you're not going to really get a sense of kind of where it's going, because then it becomes very rhythmically. Then we have kind of a more strict rhythm to follow. So at the beginning, I would probably. So the 16th notes, as you heard me play, were a little bit more free. I started slower, I sped up. But then once I got to that next measure, right back in tempo. So let's try that. We'll go a little slower, especially since you're sitting in another position. We'll go a little slower. And really, think of your tempo. Try to be strictly, within your tempo during the measures that, during the measures without the 16th notes. Okay? Make sense? Good. Let's try.
Okay.
Slower and see if we can kind of try to maintain that rhythm and see if you can get the notes a little bit more clear too. Do you have the score in front of you?
No,
yeah, why don't you pull that up, because that'll be really good to refer to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I have no. Okay.
No problem. Yeah, so let's go nice and slow. Let's do the first 4 measures very slowly. And think of your tempo, right? So 1, 2, 3. When you arrive there, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So let's go a little slower than that, actually. A little slower, but let's try.
Okay.
Yeah, so make sure that you hold that harmonic out for 3 beats, right? Don't start too soon on the 16th note. 3 beats, right? 1.
Okay. 3 beats after the harmonic.
Yes, exactly. Okay.
No, no me sale.
No, that's okay. Much better. Where you came in, that was much clearer. And also, you were starting a little fast. It gives you a little more time to kind of prepare your hands, right? Get in position. Let's just look at these notes really quickly. Can you just play them all very slowly?
Okay.
Sorry. Oh yeah, I'm looking at your score. Some of these notes aren't correct. Interesting. Yeah. So it's supposed to be here. Let me pull up my score real quick. Yeah. Hold on. Yeah, so you're starting, on the high G, and then E, or Sol, and then Mi, Re, Do. Do you use alphabet or solfege? Solfege?
Solfege? What is it?
It's a way to read the notes. Do you use the solfege system, or do you?
Sol. Clave de sol.
Okay, perfect. So you have Sol, Mi, Re, Do, Mi, Re, and then Si, La, Do, Si. Oh. Yeah. Do, Si, Sol, Mi. Yeah, some of your notes weren't exactly correct. I recommend, it's always good when you're learning a new piece to check.
But this score is not correct, the notes?
Yeah, no, there were some notes in your score that are not correct. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which notes?
Hold on. Yeah, so it's just, hold on, let me read this again. No, I'm sorry. I got no. Sorry. Forget what I said. That was It's all good. It's all good. I saw something that I was confused about, and no, never mind. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's very high. I'm used to, I play tuba. I was a little bit confused when I tried to learn it because I play tuba and I read in
In bass clef, yes.
in F,
hmm
yes, in clave de fa. I don't know the name in English of the keys.
Bass clef in English.
Bass clef.
Yes, versus
Bass clef.
treble clef, which is what we're playing in now.
Trouble? This is trouble.
This is treble clef, yes.
Okay.
Good. Okay, so yes, your score is correct. Try to read very carefully though, because some of the notes that you were playing were not exactly what the score says. Okay, so let's just play the 16th notes right now very slowly, one at a time. Okay, maybe like that. Yeah, watch out. You know, I think you repeated the D, the re, you repeated. Read the score very, very carefully and see if you can just, play that measure very slowly. Try to read those notes, yeah.
The whole part with harmonics?
Yeah, just that measure, just that second measure.
Second major?
Yes. No, just the second measure, yeah.
The second major?
The second measure, so where the 16th notes start. Good. There, play that, and play that looking at the score. Look at your notes.
Yeah.
Yeah, watch out, don't repeat the do, right? So I think you were repeating the do, right? After you play re, then you go down to C, right?
Yeah.
One more time. Yeah, don't play.
Yeah.
Don't play do, right? Don't play.
Okay.
After re, you go to C, right?
Okay. After D, no?
Yes. There too,
Okay.
right? There too. So after the C, you go to sol, right?
Okay, that's
sol, mi. So it's do, si, sol, mi, right? Good. I think try again the whole thing. Perfect.
Okay.
There you go. Good. So I think just thinking a little bit more rhythmically, right? Establish that tempo, and now that you have the right notes, you'll be able to
Very difficult.
do that a little bit more clear. Exactly. Let's keep going.
I'm going to learn what you say, and then the next weeks I will try to play with your lessons.
Oh, yes, of course, exactly. Yeah, no, we'll keep going now for the sake of time, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's keep going then. Let's start. Let's do that.
I don't know the final note if I have to play with this finger. With this finger, or
I actually recommend the third finger.
The third?
Finger. Oh, what is it? I recommend the third finger because you're able to get a little more vibrato.
The position of the guitar. I now I can't, but Before, no.
Of course. But fingering wise, try to see if you can go. Since you have 3, 3, 1, 4, 4, 3.
Okay.
Slide that up because you're also able. It's a little. You're able to get more of a vibrato. It's a little. Right. You get to do a lot of vibrato on the third finger, fourth finger. It's a little bit harder to do that because it's a weaker finger. Right.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Yes, good. Let's keep going. Yes.
Okay.
Good. So you are falling into a habit of kind of repeating the same finger, right? And when we play the classical guitar, we always want to be alternating fingers. There's only 2 examples I can think of cases where, there's exceptions, right? But there's 2 examples I could think of where we are always repeating fingers. So that's when we're playing repeated chords, right? When we're playing repeated chords, we're repeating the fingers. And the thumb, we don't have 2 bass fingers, we don't have 2 thumbs, so, we can always be repeating the thumb, right? So repeating the thumb. However, when it comes to, the other fingers, I, M, and A, we always want to alternate, right? So in this passage here, where you have these, these groups of 6, what is it? Oh, sorry. So always be repeating fingers. I recommend doing I and M, indice media, alternations there. And it can be slow, it doesn't have to be fast. But don't get into the habit of repeating a finger. We are not assigning a finger to a string.
Okay, but
Yes.
you say with the right hand. Right
Yes,
hand.
exactly.
Okay. Yeah, very difficult because
No, of course. It's hard. It's tricky. If you're not used to alternating, you get in your head. It's tricky. But let's go really slow, out of tempo, out of time. Doesn't matter. Just one note at a time. See if you can do I am the whole way through.
But
watch out! You started repeating at the end there. So
not with the first. Oh.
Yeah, with no right. So
Only with. Okay.
Exactly. I and M, indice media alternations. Exactly. Try again, very slow though, out of tempo.
Okay.
Very slow. All I am.
One more time.
Yeah, no, that was much better. So just work on that, right? Really, I recommend practicing slowly and really getting comfortable with always alternating your fingers, right? Always.
Okay.
Except those 2 exceptions, and of course, there are some other exceptions, but in general, that's the rule. Okay.
Okay.
Good. When you get to this B flat, I recommend putting a fermata there. Fermata means kind of stop, a pause in music where you are holding out the note longer than what's written. So what's written is a half note, right? We have 1, 2, 3, 1. But I recommend taking a little bit slower. I recommend it there. So you can do a lot of vibrato, make it a really expressive note. Hold it out just a little bit longer, right? So as you heard, there was a little bit of anticipation there. So I would put a fermata on that note, a pausing point, stopping point, where you hold out the note longer than the rhythm that it's written. Make sense?
Yeah.
Good. So let's start. Actually, let's just start on that B flat and keep going. Yeah?
Okay.
Yeah, so start.
Okay.
Yeah, you can switch to your thumb when you get here, because you're about to go right and do this kind of alternating thumb and chords. So you can, you can switch to your thumb when you get to these notes. Very bassy sound.
Okay. I do the
Yes.
this?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, just start. You can start here now. Good, keep going. Good, good. So in this section, right, we have a very, very clear ostinato baseline. Ostinato means it is a repeating bass line. Basically throughout this entire section, that bass line is present, right? So we really want to make sure that those notes are very, very clear in this section. Right? Really make sure that we're always hearing that bass line, especially, the beginning we're establishing, right? We want to keep that intensity, right? Right, especially this F, right? The F natural, part of our Phrygian scale, one of our modes where we have a lowered second scale degree. It's a very Spanish sounding kind of movement, the F to the E. So we want to put a little more emphasis, especially on that F, just a tiny bit, to show that dissonance, leading the F to the E. So the Fa to the Mi, right? Fa is the kind of more the note with tension, right? We put a little bit more emphasis on that note just to hear the movement, right? Something like that. So let's try, you can go a little slower, let's try again and really make that bass line very present.
Okay, also the chords?
Yes, please, yes.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah. So that, the grace note is going to land on the bass note, right? So you want the first note of the grace note, right? To be with the bass, right? Right? So ba-da-dum bum 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 bum. Ba-da-dum bum 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 bum, right? It's a little quicker so that you have those 16th notes again in rhythm. Ba-da-dum bum 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 bum. So ba-da-dum bum 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 bum. Closer. That's good. Ba-da-dum bum 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 bum. Yeah, watch not to play the 16th notes too fast, right? Right. Ba-da-dum bum 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 bum. Ba-dum ba-dum bum 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 bum. Better, better. Good. Let's keep going now. Let's keep going. You know the idea. Let's keep going.
Okay. Okay. I'll keep going.
Yes, please. Good, good. So when we arrive here, we finally arrived at our re, right? Our D minor. There's our tonic, right? So I would say at first that's probably the kind of highest point so far in the piece, right? We have this really big scale. Oh, sorry. It's our arrival, right? The highest point so far in the music. So I would put just a little bit of a pause, take a breath right after here on the fa and la. Because then we have this little kind of afterthought. Right, then we start again. So I would put a little pause for just a breath mark. You know, we're not playing the tuba, we're not playing any instrument that requires kind of the breath to be able to produce a sound. But we still need to breathe within the music also, right? You know, if we're not, then everything is going to sound just kind of one level. It's all going to be rushed. We need to be able to breathe through the music, breathe through the phrases, so that we can really bring out everything that we want to, right, in the music. So in this moment, especially, for example, we want to take a breath kind of at this cadence, at this ending point here, before we continue. So I think that would be very, it'll give us a chance to restart, right?
Okay.
Good. And then we have a little after that. Then we start again. We have a fermata here, right? Big arrival. Cadence. And then we have this whole big flourishing cadenza-like moment again. So let's start, where are we going to start? Start just here. After this big arrival on the next measure. Yeah, I would even a little longer, I think. All of these kind of stylistic things, they're more personal interpretation. So, take what you want and leave what you want of what I'm saying. But I personally think that letting that E flat, that mi kind of sink in. I mean, it's a dissonant note, right? What is it? Came out of nowhere, right? We were playing this D minor chord, very beautiful. No, sorry, not D minor. This dominant chord and then E flat out of nowhere. I would put a little bit more emphasis in there. Just let the audience think, what just happened? Where's it going? Yeah.
Yeah.
Try again. Just that arpeggio.
Okay, so. But I have to pulse the note here.
Anytime there's a portamento written in this piece where you're sliding with the same finger from one fret to the other, you will articulate the second note. So both notes,
Okay.
right?
No.
When you arrive in the left hand on that next fret on the second note, that's when you articulate.
The chord, okay. The chord, I have to play the chord with all the fingers and finishing this note, this.
Yes.
With which finger do I play the note?
Maybe M, media.
Okay, but
Yeah, because you're doing, you know, the arpeggio, I would do fingerings P, P, I, M, A, M, and either I or A, you know, on the high E flat, whichever one. But I would do thumb, thumb, índice, media, anular, media, and then, you know, whichever. Good, and there's a poco crescendo written, right? Poco crescendo. I would also do poco ritardando. So a little bit getting louder a little bit and also getting slower a little bit. I would do that as well. Sorry. There. So really I would, you know, follow what your edition is saying too. Poco crescendo means getting a little bit louder. And I would also do poco ritardando, getting a little bit slower as well. Can you try that? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then here, right, again, the first note of the grace notes. You're gonna make it with the bass. Yeah. So the bass and the first note are gonna land together. Because you're doing this, right? But make it on the first note.
That's a question I have with the scores, because the how is the name of this note of ostinato?
The grace note.
The base of the note is after you play ostinato, yes. And I don't know if you have to do at the same time of the ostinato or not, or you have to stop.
Good observation. Yeah. So I would still, I mean, I know that it is written kind of in line with the last note of the grace notes, right? 3 notes in a grace note. It's written as the last one. But that is just to show that, I mean, the way that it's written is to show kind of the meter, right? It shows where the beats are. And so, you know, it doesn't necessarily mean kind of that we are always going to line that up with the last note. In fact, the grace note being the nature of a grace note, meaning that it's quick, it's a flourish, you know, you are actually still going to be playing that first note of the grace note on the beat. It's on the beat. It's not before the beat, it's on the beat.
Okay.
Make sense?
On the beat.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Again, make sure to check your notes very, very carefully there. You know, I would really, you know, pay attention to the score. Some of the notes were off when you were playing it. But yeah, just take a little more time in the section, right? We have another cadenza-like moment here, right? Just like in the beginning. So you can take your time. I would start slow, and it says accelerando at the bottom. That means to get faster. So I would start a little slower and start to kind of think of rolling. It's rolling down the hill, right? You got this boulder rolling down the hill. It starts slow, and then it just keeps going, right? So that's how I would think of this section up until where you have marked tenuto. Tenuto in Italian means held, right? Tenuto. So that in music that translates to you're going to kind of hold out the note a little bit longer, so it's not going to be, you know, it's not going to be as fast anymore. So you have, you know. So right, when you arrive on that last group of 16th notes there, tenuto, you know, it's not going to be, you're not going to speed through it, right? You're going to hold it out a little longer. It's going to be a longer value. Make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
So we'll keep going for now so that you can, you know, check the notes there on your own. But let's now keep going and take the second ending. We'll go to the F major section.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't really like that grace note there, to be honest. There's a couple grace notes in this section that I'm not a huge fan of. Again, this is a personal interpretation, so you can do kind of whatever you want there with the grace notes, but I think some of them do take away a little bit. That one I'm not a huge fan of. You just came from a bar, so to me it sounds a little more effective without it. And then this one, I definitely wouldn't do that one. That's just, that one I really don't think that there should be a grace note there at all. I know it's written that way, but I do think that you want to land kind of on the beat a little bit more clearly. That grace note, you're sliding a bar, basically. Whenever you're shifting with a bar, I mean, it's tricky to be accurate when you're shifting with a bar. And so just arrive there, no grace note. It's still, you're not taking anything away from the music, in my opinion, from there. So that one I really wouldn't do. This one, I'm not the biggest fan of that one either, to be honest, but if you want to leave that one in, that's okay too. But this one, I just, it's not my favorite,
Okay.
So, but good, let's keep going. And, with I know that you're not supported very well yet with the upper bout, but in this position, you're able to keep your wrist much straighter as you're doing these bars, and that's very good, because bars are a very, very tricky technique. We have a tendency to over-press with the bars, right? Which then, it's not good, right? It can cause some physical issues with our left hand. So wrist straight when we're playing the bars. We were doing a much better job at that. Very good. Oh my gosh, yeah, we are out of time. My timer went off. Let's keep going. Let's keep going real quick. I just want to hear the D major section. So just start here and keep going.
Okay. But the second, if you want, we can finish. The other participants have to.
No, of course. I just want to hear one more thing. That's it. So just keep going for now.
Okay, the second part of the major.
Yes, please.
The major part.
Yes, please. Keep going.
Do I?
Keep going. All right, let me hear the D major. Yeah, so here, right, it's a big triumphant moment, right? It's this really big arrival. We had this huge chromatic scale, right? This big chromatic scale, right? Huge buildup. So really, really, I would do a much bigger sound. It's only mezzo forte, but I would still maybe I would personally make it more forte, I think, maybe a little brighter. I like to play it, in the second position, because I really love that.
I didn't know that position, so the score mark.
Exactly. So where your first finger is at the second fret and fourth finger at the fifth fret. I like it playing better there than here.
I prefer down, but
I would 100% do that. That's what I do too, because it's just the bright quality of this beautiful kind of chord, beautiful tonality that we're in. I really think, especially leading up to it, I mean, we want to really have a good contrast between, which is already a little bit darker. Now we have. We had this beautiful, big moment. So I would make it a little brighter. I would play it down here. Just big contrast at that section. Yeah. I think we have to move on now. But Pablo, do you have any questions about this piece for me?
No.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Great job. Nice job.
Thank you.
All right. How do I here, remove pin.